So tell us a little bit about who are you in the production?
I play the Oracle, who is a sort of high priestess in Poseidon's temple. So she's the person who knows the future. She has sort of flashes of visions and sees fragments of everybody's future.
And
so they come to her.
Yeah, and so the story is that Jason, the story begins in the present day.
Yes,
is taken into this place.
Taken back from this world back into Atlantis, which is a slight sort of, there's a sort of hybrid that they use the Atlantis myth as the setting, but it's really a sort of reworking of the Jason and the Argonauts for our time, a reimagining of those stories. So every week you get a new sort of great adventure that he has to go on, and from time to time he and other characters come and consult me to try and get glimpses of their futures, and I have to be very sort of circumspect about how much I tell them of what I know is going to happen to them.
It's kind of a mysterious role that you play, isn't it?
She's a wonderfully, I mean, she's a real woman. She would have just been plucked from the local village or something, but she's an ordinary woman in a very extraordinary job, you know, and she lives inside this temple and has a direct line to the gods. But she's also quite political, because she has to be very careful what information she gives to whom, knowing what they might do with it. And there's loss and grief and fear, but there's also a lot of fun, you know, and there's a romantic interest, and it's got something for everybody, actually.
You know, there's the big thing at the moment about how television's sort of taking over from the movies.
Yeah.
You know, drama and the scale of things. I mean, you're known for your film work, I would guess, primarily. So do you get a sense of that happening?
No, I do. It's a really, really exciting time for television. You know, I think that a lot of the greatest, most interesting writing is happening in TV, and everybody feels that, you know. Fantastic stuff, of course, coming out of America. We're doing wonderfully interesting stuff here, and I think for an actor it used to be a sort of medium, might have been the third one you'd do, you know. Theatre and cinema had a sort of cachet about them, and telly was a sort of poor relation, but by no means anymore. I think now television is where a lot of the really interesting writing is happening, creativity is happening, and I think everybody wants to work there. So, no, I'm very chuffed to be in this. It's an exciting time.
I know you talked about it before. What about the roles, though, for women of a certain age in television? Are there enough written, do you think, or do you think that needs to be looked at?
No, there aren't enough written. I'm glad you mentioned that. No, and I think, you know, a huge part of the audience is sort of women in their middle years, and I think it would be great to have that age group more represented, more interestingly. I mean, I think the roles are there, but they're often quite dull, and they're quite...
Where does that prejudice come from, do you think? I call it prejudice. I mean, where does that sort of whole sentiment that it just doesn't happen, where does it start?
No, I think that sort of, you know, we're very often there as mums or grandmothers or wives or supporters of people who are enjoying the action, you know, but there's a sort of idea that women perhaps have finished the narrative of their lives by the time they get to 45 or something.
And that's because that's the age, is it, 45?
So roughly around that time, I think. And you know, of course, we all know that's not the case. And yeah, life goes on, and life goes on in a very full way. So I'm hoping that will change. I think it's already beginning to change.